Some children don't get a childhood, not because they wanted to grow up early, but because no one else was holding things together. Imagine being 7 years old and realizing, without anyone saying it, that the adults around you are not okay. So something shifts inside you. You stop being the child and quietly become the one who manages everything. You stay calm when others fall apart. You read emotions before words are spoken. You become mature, strong, responsible, and everyone praises you for it. But here's the truth no one talks about. That strength didn't come for free. It came at the cost of your childhood.
This is the hidden psychology of a child who grew up too fast. And the story doesn't end in childhood. It follows you into adulthood, into relationships, into the way you see yourself. Because when a child is forced to become emotionally responsible too early, something fundamental changes. Psychologists call this parentification. It's when the roles are reversed. Instead of being protected, the child becomes the protector. Instead of being supported, they become the support system. They become the emotional caretaker, the peacekeeper, the one who holds everything together. And while it may look like strength from the outside, internally, it rewires the brain. The child learns one thing very quickly. My needs don't matter as much as theirs. And over time, they stop expressing those needs altogether.
Not because they don't have them, but because they learned it wasn't safe to. This creates something deeper, hypervigilance, a constant state of awareness, always scanning the room, always reading tone, energy, subtle shifts, trying to predict what might go wrong before it does. Because growing up, that awareness wasn't optional. It was survival. And slowly, the real child disappears. Not physically, but emotionally. In their place grows someone else. The good one. The strong one. The one who doesn't complain. The one who handles everything. And they become so good at playing this role that even they start to believe it. But underneath it all, there's something unresolved, a quiet ache, because the part of them that needed care never received it. As they grow older, this doesn't just disappear, it evolves. It shows up in ways that are often misunderstood. They become extremely independent, not because they don't want help, but because they don't trust it will be there. They struggle to relax because rest feels unfamiliar. They feel uncomfortable receiving love because deep down, love feels like something that must be earned. They overgive in relationships. They take care of everyone, but rarely let anyone truly take care of them. And the hardest part? They often don't even realize it. Because when chaos is normal in childhood, peace feels unnatural in adulthood. Stillness feels suspicious. Calm feels temporary. Love feels like something that will eventually be taken away. So they stay in survival mode, even when they're safe, even when nothing is wrong. Their body doesn't know the difference because it was trained too early for a life that required constant alertness. But here's the deeper truth. No child chooses this consciously. They don't decide to become strong. They adapt. Because at that age, attachment is everything. And if the only way to stay connected is to take responsibility, they will. Even if it means abandoning themselves. And that's where the real pain begins. Because what protected you back then starts limiting you now. You become high-functioning, successful, reliable, but internally, exhausted, disconnected, still carrying a weight that was never yours. You might find yourself thinking, Why am I always the one holding everything together? Why is it so hard for me to relax? Why do I feel alone, even when I'm not? These are not personality traits. They are patterns, learned responses. And the good news is, they can be unlearned.
But healing doesn't start with fixing. It starts with acknowledging, recognizing what happened, without minimizing it, without comparing it, without saying others had it worse. Because pain is not a competition, and what you experienced mattered. The next step is something deeper, reconnecting with the part of you that never got to be a child, the part that still holds unmet needs, the part that still wants to be seen, heard, and safe. Ask yourself one question. What did I need back then that I never received? And listen carefully, because the answer is where healing begins. Maybe it was comfort. Maybe it was protection. Maybe it was someone simply asking, "Are you okay?" And slowly, you begin to give that to yourself. Not to erase the past, but to stop reliving it. This is what people call inner child healing. Not a trend, not a shortcut, but a process of rebuilding what was missing. Because the truth is, no one is coming to rescue the child you once were. But you can. You can become the person you needed. You can create safety. You can allow yourself to rest. You can stop carrying what was never yours. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first, because softness is unfamiliar. Vulnerability feels risky. Letting go of control feels unsafe. But that's part of the process. That's how you know you're moving forward. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before you had to become someone else. So, if you were the child who grew up too fast, understand this. Your strength was never the problem. The problem was that you had no choice. But now, you do. You can choose differently. You can choose to rest. You can choose to receive. You can choose to stop surviving and start living. And maybe for the first time, you're not growing up out of pressure, but out of awareness. You didn't get the childhood you deserved, but you still have something powerful, a future that you can shape differently. And this time, you don't have to carry it alone. If this made you see yourself differently, and if you want more content like this, psychology, healing, and real self-understanding, subscribe, because this is just the beginning.